everyone. Welcome, of course, to the House of D. I am your host, D Square. It is a new year, so happy New Year's, everyone. Marvel has started it off with a bang. Huge, company-wide crossover called Incoming. We've seen the promotional images for months now. You see the hand, looks like blood is dripping off of it. Who could have possibly been murdered that all those people on the cover care about? So we actually get to find out with the release of Incoming earlier this week. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, guys, I got some major problems. Major problems with this comic. It just isn't good. The first thing is it's $9.99. It's almost graphic novel price. That is just absurd that you would charge $9.99 for a comic. Now, I will tell you, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is not a regular size comic. It's quite big. It's big. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you're not getting your money's worth as far as pages to read or anything, but I just think that $10 for a single issue is just it's getting absurd, and it's something that we're kind of seeing become more and more common. Now again, these are normally supersized issues, but I just didn't expect that to have to pay $10. So that's going to be my first major complaint. All right, guys. So as you can tell, I'm definitely not high on this comic. One of the biggest problems that I have with this, event is that for months now, like I mentioned, we've been seeing these promotional issues. We've been seeing this hand, looks like blood is dripping off of it. We're meant to think it's a very important murder of somebody that's very special and important in the Marvel Universe. I had even assumed at some point and made a prediction that it was Franklin Richards, seeing as that, he's affiliated not only with the Fantastic Four, but is a mutant. So that's definitely something that could, go across the multiple properties of the Marvel Comics. But that's not it at all, okay? Spoiler alert here, okay? I will say there's going to be spoilers dashed in here. Certainly not going to go over the whole thing, but there's going to be spoilers. And my first spoiler is going to be the victim of this important murder is just some Kree guy. At first, they mistake him for a human because he's a light-skinned Kree. So apparently, there's blue Kree and then there's pale Kree or light-skinned, whatever they want to call them. So no one even knows this guy. Everyone just seems instantly intrigued. So I mean, so here's what happens: is there is this character that has a mask on. It's a mask made from the fabric of space or what have you. And this mask leads him to certain things that either he has to see or that maybe others have to see. And real quick, just so yeah, the masked raider. And I'll make sure and have a picture up there. Yeah, the masked raider, he is led to this, what they call, locked door crime scene or what have you, and finds that this guy was murdered. Turns out the only clue is in this very clean apartment building, almost too clean. There's only one clue, and that's behind a picture of the murder victim on a wall, which is strange in itself. There is a code that needs to be deciphered, and that's what much of this comic deals with, is that code being deciphered. It goes from, of course, this masked raider guy, and then he involves Matt Murdock, and Matt Murdock seeks help, wants to seek the help of Tony Stark, but Tony Stark's not around right now. So he goes to Reed Richards, who then starts to unravel this mystery a little bit. There are some really great scenes in here. One that I'm particularly interested in is Mr. Sinister. There's a whole 2-3 pages dedicated to Mr. Sinister. You don't know who he's talking to, but he is talking about the fact that although there are rules and laws in Krakoa, there's enough wiggle room in those laws that he can kind of pursue this extra project, and we see that he is gathered and looking to gather certain DNA of certain mutants, one of which is Franklin Richards. So that is definitely intriguing, but that's the only thing that connects that scene or the X-Men at this point to this event so far. But that is a good and intriguing scene. But everything else is really, really discombobulated. Um, and so it just doesn't make sense yet. Why is this murder so important? Well, because the space mask the guy's wearing told him so. That's all we know right now, guys. I mean, again, there's a Spider-Man and Miles Morales Spider-Man scene that is cool. Um, so again, this comic is not without its moments, but overall, the story just it's not making sense to me. It's jumping and trying to reestablish these teams that I'm not sure the whole lot of people know about. So, but there are some other stuff here for niche fans, of the Defenders and the Champions and things like that. We do catch back up with the Avengers is cool. So, I mean, I understand this is the beginning of a larger story, but again, coming out at $10, having the victim of this crime be of really no importance to anybody right now. I expected it, and it should be. If it's such an important murder mystery, then the victim should be somebody other than some random Kree. I'm sure we'll learn of him being more important at some point, but for right now, it's not great storytelling for me. I've read some stuff by Charles Soule lately with the X-Men. I mean, I certainly think he's a good writer, but right now, this first issue, again, it's just not good. It's just Marvel Incoming, the first major Marvel crossover event since the War of the Realms. It's it's not doing it for me, gang. It's not doing it for me. I don't think it's great quality. I mean, I'm certainly going to keep collecting this story and reading it because I do want to see how it concludes. As I've already invested $10, but I don't have high hopes for it so far. So. You may want to skip picking this one up if you're, again, disappointed at the fact that this huge murder is somehow, about some random Kree guy. And just, other ridiculous stuff. Like, it's not explained why the Hulkling only has an hour before he has to go into space, so he spends that hour with his gay lover who's also home from his mission, and then boom, Hulkling goes off into Kree space and becomes this great, huge, big overlord, bringing Kree and Skrull together. I mean, that's just it's not making sense yet to me, guys. So maybe this will become better as the story unfolds with subsequent issues. But right now, guys, yeah. All right, I gotta tell you the truth, guys. I like crossovers, but if they're not done well or they're too hyped or they're hyping something that's not important, which seems to be the case here, I'm just not I'm just not on it, Marvel. So very disappointing so far to the beginning of the comic book year, but I'll stay positive, guys. So I'll let you know, when the next issue comes out. I guess I'll let you know how I feel and how it progresses. We'll also be talking about some other subjects here on the channel as well. So if you enjoy the content today on my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. Of course, a like is always appreciated. Would love to hear what you thought about the first issue of the major crossover incoming event. And yeah, if you want to, have further contact with me, you can also follow me on Twitter at dsquare72. And I also do small press indie comic reviews on superheroespeak.com. In fact, the boys over the Superhero Speak podcast were so kind as to let me on their last episode where we talk about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And stay tuned to this channel because I'm going to be talking about that a little more too. Until next time, guys, peace and love, and we'll see you again soon.